Okay, so hello. Yes, I'm Alexandra Spalato, developer relation engineer at Storyblok. I'm French, as you can perhaps hear by my accent, and half Spanish, and I live in the beautiful Spanish island of Mallorca. Super excited to be here. It's my first time in Miami. And today we are going to serve the headless commerce wave with Shopify Hydrogen. So who of you have heard of Hydrogen? Okay, and who wants to build projects with it? Okay. So, Shopify Hydrogen is a new framework for building headless Shopify stores because headless commerce has many advantages, but it can come with an increased complexity in development. So Hydrogen is designed to simplify the development experience. It comes with built-in best practice and is built on Remix. So who of you knows Remix or have used Remix? Okay, that's great. So I learned Remix by learning Hydrogen. I really love Remix. Now it's my favorite framework. So it comes with a component-based architecture, and it leverages Remix to improve performance. It also offers a seamless integration with Shopify APIs. So we're going to analyze the code of a project, and this is the project. And so that's why I was talking about Surf, because I take a free Shopify theme and build that with this inspiration. So the homepage is built with Hydrogen, but also with Storyblok, which is my favorite headless framework. So we can mix content and products. And so here, if we click here, we go to the collections, the collection entry. And here, for example, I click on the performance board, and we can see all the collection details with all the products. And if I click on a product, I see the details product that I can add to the cart. Then here I see that I have one item on the cart, and I can read the cart, and I can check out. So we have a fully functional, simple e-commerce. Now if I come back to the home page, I can see that my homepage has changed to performance board. That's personalization. I will not enter there, but you will be able to clone the repo. The repo is here, and see how everything works between Storyblok and Hydrogen. So you can clone the repo. I will post on Twitter my slides, so you can clone everything. So let's go back to the slides. No, it's not there. Okay. So we are going to see how to fetch and mutate data in Hydrogen, how to build the collection and product, how to handle SEO, and how to build a car, and all that in 15 minutes. So first, how to fetch and mutate data in Hydrogen. So Hydrogen provides a storefront client to send queries and mutation from Remix loaders and action. So for the ones that who don't know Remix is a full stack framework that leverage web standards, and also you can use loader and actions, so loaders to get data from the server and actions to send mutations to the servers. So this is how it works. So this is a project, and for the ones who know Remix, this is totally a Remix project. As you can see, we have our root file, our roots, and here I have created a root for collections with the index. Here is where I code my collection entries, and in the handle, I code the collection details, and in the products here, I have the collection details here. And here I have my cart route, and here in server.js, which is the entry point, I call the create storefront client to create my storefront, and then we pass it to get load context, and from there the storefront will be available in the context in our loader and actions. When you create the project with the Hydrogen CLI, all this code is already written. You can customize it, but this is already done. So from there, we have the storefront available, and we will use storefront.query to send GraphQL queries to our storefront and load data. So we will use that to build our products, to build our collection and collection details, and to read our cart also. And we will use storefront.mutate to perform GraphQL mutation in Remix action. And we will use that to build all the cart operation, creating a cart, adding items to the cart, removing items from the cart. So to create products and collection, as I have shown, we create this route, the collection index, the collection details, and the product details. And then, for example, for the collection entry, here I have this query. I don't know if this light works. Well, here I have the query, and from there I get the ID, title, handle, image from my collection that I wanted to show in these entries. Then I get this data in my loader using context.storefront.query and passing this query. I retrieve this collection in the component by using the hook use loader data. Then I have my collection data. I can map around this collection and display a collection card. Same principle for the collection details and for the product details. So it's quite simple to read the data in Hydrogen. We have also Hydrogen React, which is a library of React components, hooks, and utilities that can be used with any React framework or application. So if you have a project with Next or Gatsby or whatever, and you want to implement headless Shopify, you can use Hydrogen components. So here are some examples. The image component displays the image very easily. The money component will display the price and currency by passing the price as data, and the Shopify Pay button is a Buy Now button that you can have just by passing the store domain. And there is many more that you can explore in the documentation. So how to handle SEO in Hydrogen? So Hydrogen offers a SEO component that collects the data defined in the handle export here. And we can create a function and pass the data from our loader as arguments. So here in the root file, we take the shop name as title and the shop description as meta description. Then we place this component in the head of our root. And in other routes, we can overwrite it. So here in the product handle for the product details, we override the title with the product title, and we override the description with the product description. And this is the result. So this is a single product. We can see that our title is retrieved in our head, and our description is retrieved as meta description. So it's very easy to use and very handy. So now let's build a cart. So that's the biggest part. So I drink a bit of water to have a better voice. So cart operation could be done client side, but this will affect performance because of the additional code delivered to the browser. It will also affect the user experience because all the critical flows couldn't be actionable until all GS has finished loading. But Remix has a powerful mutation API that leverage web standards like form and HTTP. So we can use a traditional server-side form flow while keeping the benefits of client-side. And our cart will be working even without JavaScript. So we can apply progressive enhancement, optimistic UI, and a lot of nice things that you can do with Remix. So let's build a performance server-side cart. So to build this cart, first we need to create a route. So we create a cart route, and in this route, we create an action that handles a form submission to the cart route. And then we need to create API functions. We need a function to create the cart. We need a function to add items to the cart. And we need a function to remove items from the cart. And each function will perform a mutation using storefront.mutate. So the cart create function creates the cart with a line item data passing the create cart mutation query. So we use storefront.mutate and we pass the query. This is the query. Then the cart add function add lines item to an existing cart by passing the add lines mutation query. And here we have the cart ID and the lines, which are the product, as variables. and this is the mutation. And the cart remove lines item from a cart by passing the remove line items mutation query. And here we have the cart ID and the line ID as variables. This is the mutation. You can look it later. Then we need to call this function from the action. But as the root can only have one action, we are going to create a switch to run the function based on the submitted form action input. So this is how it looks. So in my cart root, we get our form data from the request, and then from this form data, we get the cart action, and we have this switch, which has two cases, add to cart and remove from cart. So we are going to create an add to cart button, and in this add to cart button, we can see that our button is included inside a form, and we use useFetcher, which is a hook that allows to get post data to another route, so in this case, a cart route. And then we have an hidden input cart action, and here the value is add to cart, and we have another input for the lines, which are the products that we want to add to the cart. So in our switch, here we are in the case add to cart. So we check if a cart exists, and if a cart doesn't exist, we run the cart create function to create this cart, and if it doesn't exist, we create it with cart create, and if it exists, then we run the cart add function to add these lines to the cart. So very simple. Same thing for the remove from cart button that we also need. We also have this form, this fetcher, and now the cart action as remove from cart as value. We have the lines ID in the other input. And here in our switch, we are in the case remove from cart, so we run the cart remove function. Now, we have a cart, we have a add to cart button, so we can have items and data in our cart, but now we need a cart query, and we need a cart fetcher function, and then we need a loader to get this data from the server. So here is the query in the code, my cart query with all the data I need from the cart. Then here is my fetcher function, get cart. And as Hydrogen caches automatically the data, here we don't want it to be cached because we don't want to have stale data when users are adding items to the cart. So this cache can be customized or disabled. So here we disable it with storefront.cacheNone. Then now, if a cart exists, we want to get this data with our loader, but we need this data in different places. We need it in the header, in the little icon to know the number of items in the cart, and we need it in the cart route to get all this data. So we are going to place this loader in the root file so it will be available globally. So here in my loader, I run the getCart function, but as you can see, I'm not awaiting this promise to be resolved because I need the shop data for my SEO immediately. So I use the defer utility, and defer allows for streaming and defer responses, and it will transport the promises to the UI components, and that's where it will be resolved. So now I create my cart icon, and the cart icon component is a child of the root file. And in Remix, you can get the data at the component level from parent roots by using useLoaderData. So I get my cart data from useLoaderData, and now I use await to resolve my cart data along with suspense. From there, I have my cart data. And from there, I have the quantity of item from the data, and I can display it on my icon. So very simple. Now, I have all the data to build my UI components. So The line item renders each product from the cart, and we also render here the remove from cart button. The cart lines item component use a utility from Hydrogen React, flatten connection, which flatten the nodes and edges object to a simple array of lines. So then we map around this line and we display each line item which represents each product. And the cart summary component renders the total by using the money component. The checkout button links to the checkout URL. And finally, the cart content component display everything, the cart lines items, the cart summary, and the checkout button. Now, we need this data in our cart route. The cart route is not a child of the root file, but we can get this data by using the use matches hook. And these use matches get the data from the root, and from there we get our cart data that we resolve again with await and suspense. Then we check if this data, the quantity of items. So if there is item in the cart, we display the cart content component, and if not, we display a cart empty component. And that's all. We have now a functional and simple e-commerce website, so I hope that you will build one. And if you like it, I really recommend you to go to the Hydrogen documentation, to the Remix documentation. If you don't know it, it's really well done. I learned everything from there. And I'm not a documentation person, I'm a video learner, so it's really, really good. In the repository, you can clone it. You can also clone the Storyblok space and reproduce everything. I will post it. I will post this slide on Twitter now. And please, if you have questions, find me outside. I'm a people person, so I'm happy to talk to everybody. I hope you like it and that you will build a lot of stores with hydrogen. Thank you.